So we're going to talk about kind of a dirty topic, and that is greasing the motor to keep it from seizing up. Pretty important if you are in salt water, or really in any kind of water, but especially salt water. You want to make sure the motor does not get seized up. And there are certain points on the motor that should always be greased. Some of them would be your prop shaft every time you take off the prop, or sometimes just take the prop off just to replace the cotter pin and grease the prop shaft. You can take your regular marine grease, any sort of marine grease or multi-purpose grease. How the grease gun works is it just connects onto some of these little grease fittings. You push on, a little bit of pressure, pump. And it's pretty cold here, so this grease is pretty thick. And you just keep pumping until you see it ooze out. We can see it's oozing up through the top there. We don't really see any oozing out the bottom, but by greasing that point there, that'll keep our motor nice and easy to turn over all the years. Nice and easy. Now, there used to be a lot more grease points on motors, and on bigger motors you'll find a lot more, but these little 9.9s have become pretty cheap. We've got two up here still, so we could clip on our grease gun and do these two guys. The purpose of these two grease fittings are to lubricate the tilt mechanism. So we can see as we squeeze, more grease shoots out through there. Move this over. Very good. How these grease fittings work is by pushing that grease fitting there on, or that grease gun on. It just snaps over, and then really high pressure grease goes through that little tiny pinhole there and comes out through the other end. So that keeps our motor nice and easy to tilt. There's some other places that we would want to grease, just for the sake of it. These little parts here that you can see it came from the factory with the grease on, white lithium works really good to get into those threads, keep those turning nice and freely. If you leave the motor on a boat too long, it will seize up in place and be really hard to turn these. Sometimes just trying to turn them will snap them off there. Try to keep basically anything that turns or any nuts sprayed. PB Blaster works great just to periodically spray and penetrate through there. Inside there, anywhere that you're going to be moving things, tugging on things, you can see all the grease that comes here from the factory. This is a brand new motor, so anywhere you see grease on this motor, it's a good place to put grease on yours. The shift mechanism back here helps it keep shifting nice and smooth. Our throttle mechanism, the choke mechanism in there, and all these little parts back here on the carburetor, throttle plate, all our little springs. Also keep them covered in grease, keeps it protected from the salt water and from rusting, so that's a really good thing. Anywhere that is a tight fitting spot that doesn't have a grease fitting, some of your motors may not have these here, may not have them on the drive shaft there. Just go ahead and spray it with PB Blaster or a penetrating lubricant. That'll get into all the nooks and crannies. Do that semi-frequently, maybe once a month or more, and that'll keep it nice and fresh, so nothing gets seized up on you. Even don't hesitate to spray some of these little spots with PB Blaster if you can't get grease back in there. Just keep everything moving nice and freely, just kind of like it was day one. You can also check out some of the other videos for preventive maintenance on these. Make sure you're doing oil changes, lower unit oil changes on these pretty frequently, and just looking over the general health and well-being of the motor, checking on your fuel quality, all the fuel lines, everything like that, making sure your impeller is in good shape for your water pump. All those videos available under our Boatman tab. Until next time, have fun, be safe.